All right. So here we are. We have new news. No general's voice here. This is not Joe Christian. This is Tom Youngjohn. And but we have new news. The guy who won, Mr. T, opens investigation into Baldwin shooting. Now, for people who are not familiar with my trials and tribulations with YouTube, you guys should be aware that I keep on getting strikes, and they keep on, I guess I keep on moving the goalposts, right? And so now, having gotten a strike on Tom Youngjohn 3. This, by the way, this is not Joe Christian, is where I do these articles without the general's voice. And because some of my viewers really loathe the general's voice, which is their problem, but I try to, I try to accommodate them. So this one is without the general's voice, which is no fun, but it's easy on the voice, so I can go ahead and do it. Anyway, so now I'm going to have the actual general's voice full on show or whatever, newscast, depending on what your thoughts are, over at Tom Youngjohn 4, with only a teaser with the general's voice at Tom Youngjohn 3. So I'll do Tom Youngjohn 4, get that link, and I'll put it in the description box below in Tom Youngjohn 3 with the teaser that has just a brief, right. Okay, I think you understand. I'm the reason there's a Tom Youngjohn 4 is because YouTube is the Antichrist. I mean, I've got an argument for that. So you should see on my series, 3-part series over at Tom Youngjohn 3 and over at Tom Youngjohn 2, I think, still there. Zombie channel, by the way, Tom Youngjohn 2. I can't touch it. But on the mark of the beast, I make the argument that that YouTube is actually, or Google at least, is the Antichrist. All right, so let's go get the news. Sorry for the long delay here. Mr. T, the guy who won the election, opens investigation into Baldwin shooting. Oopsie. So professional. Mr. T, the guy who won the election, has opened and funded an investigation to determine whether Alec Baldwin knowingly and intentionally executed cinematographer Helena Hutchins after learning that she had begun work on a documentary aimed at exposing a prodigious child. I don't know what words will bust me. So child nastiness ring, said a Mar-a-Lago source under promise of anonymity. Child nastiness. You can imagine what I'm not saying here on YouTube. I'd say it somewhere else, but I'm not anywhere else really. So the source told Real Raw News that Trump became suspicious of the accidental shooting theory shortly after news of the ghastly incident went shortly after news of the ghastly incident going public, and those suspicions soared to new heights when he personally spoke with 2 veteran actors who have extensive knowledge of firearm safety protocols on film sets. The 2 actors were Jim Caviezel and Jon Voight. Caviezel told Trump that the odds of an actor being handed a weapon loaded with a live round were indescribably remote, adding that he had never handled a hot weapon in all his years as a major motion picture star. He emphasized the rigorous safety checks involved in making sure actors are given firearms loaded only with blanks or non-lethal projectiles. The odds were 1 in a billion, sir. Before we grab a firearm on set, that weapon is checked by at least 3 people: the on-set firearms expert, their assistant, and at least one producer or production assistant. They should have all checked the damn cylinder. We still don't know if the other 5 chambers had blanks or were live. And Alec, he's handled hundreds of guns in his career. A lot doesn't add up. Gutierrez is young, but that's no excuse. Caviezel told Trump. His statement referred to Hannah Gutierrez, the film's armorer and the 24-year-old daughter of longtime film industry armorer Thal Reed. Incidentally, Caviezel is set to star in Sound of Freedom, which focuses on the child nastiness trade industry. I have seen a test screening and consider it to be among the most accurate. That's Michael Baxter, my journalistic hero. Michael Baxter has seen a test screening and consider it to be among the most accurate representations of this terrible industry. Hollywood has tried to censor the film. This is a film you won't want to miss, and Michael Baxter will have a formal review of this epic closer to the release date. John Voight's message to Trump echoed Caviezel's ominous rebuke of an accidental shooting. Things like this, Mr. President, they don't happen for no reason. Alec is bad people. I never liked him. This girl he killed is shameful. Many precautions are taken to prevent events like that from happening. People will say, well, it happened to Brandon Lee, but I still don't believe that was an accident. I think Mr. T, the guy who won, there's a lot we're not being told. Voight said to Mr. T, the guy who won. Voight also highlighted a huge hypocrisy in how liberal elitists classify firearms. We call them props, but they are real guns, firing pins and all. On a set, they're props, but in the hands of the people, they're suddenly become assault weapons or high-powered rifles. Voight added, Mr. T, the guy who won's conversations with the actors reinforced his belief that something sinister was afoot. Our source said, Trump committed several $1 million of his own money toward learning the truth. He doesn't trust that New Mexico will actually bring charges against Baldwin, so he hired a private investigative firm to dig deep. It only took a day for them to uncover facts that the mainstream media isn't reporting. Our source said. Investigators, he said, interviewed friends, family, and co-workers of Helena Hutchins and learned that she had been clandestinely developing a documentary that would have, had she not been killed, centered on exposing a gargantuan child nastiness ring in the underbelly of Hollywood, home to the deep secret handshake state hegemony. Helena's lifelong friend, Shelley Jordan, told investigators that Helena had spent her adult life advocating on behalf of disadvantaged children and kids who had been victimized by sexual predators in the motion picture industry. Jordan said that Hutchins had drafted a list of a dozen high profile celebrities who had profited immensely through the sharing and trading of underage boys and girls. She didn't tell me about the names for my own protection, I guess. She kept it all concealed so no one would find out before it was completed. It was a huge project on which she was moonlighting. She never spoke bad of Alec, but the more I think about what happened, the more I believe she was murdered to stifle her project. I've made this info available to CNN and MSNBC, but they won't touch it. Jordan told investigators mainstream media's refusal to publish her statements has buttressed Trump's suspicions of foul play. Donald Trump is grave. Oh, Mr. T, the guy who won, is gravely concerned about the children of this country, and he is committed to getting to the bottom of this, our source said. So, love God and try to be good. And remember, there's going to be a teaser for the real one over at Tom Youngjohn 3. And then the real one is going to be at Tom Youngjohn 4. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell because of why? Because YouTube is the Antichrist. At least I have a good argument for it. So, hi, Rose. But the other versions are going to have the general's voice. So this is specifically for people who are like allergic to the general's voice, the admiral's voice, the drill sergeant voice, the angry man voice. See you later.